welcome to another edition of our Road Safety Chat with TD2. And today's chat, we want to talk about pedestrians. Now, a lot of road traffic crashes occur and pedestrians also are involved. Some, unfortunately, they die and some remain with very serious injuries, and some actually do even have slight injuries. Now, when it comes to road traffic crashes, there's fatal, serious, slight, and damage only. Now, in these road traffic crashes, they are crashes that involve pedestrians. And there's a norm, especially here in Zambia, that every time a road traffic crash occur between a motor vehicle and a pedestrian, the driver apparently is always the one to blame. He's always the one at fault. Now, I'm here to break the news that it's not always the driver who is at fault, because even pedestrians, they've got roles and responsibilities they're supposed to play when they are on the road to also avoid being involved in the road traffic crash and also to enhance their own safety. So today, we're going to look at what does the law say when it comes to pedestrians. Is there a law that provides guidelines to pedestrians on how they are supposed to conduct themselves when they are on the road to enhance their safety and to also make sure that they do not cause a road traffic crash? Is our discussion today. Now, first things first, of course, we need to define who is a pedestrian. In case you're watching and you're wondering, TD2, who is a pedestrian? So in a nutshell, a pedestrian is a person walking or running on foot. A pedestrian is a person that is walking or running on foot, is what is known as a pedestrian. Now, at one point or the other, we are all pedestrians. It doesn't matter whether you have 100 vehicles. At one point or the other, you're going to be a pedestrian. You can park your motor vehicle on one side of the road and you want to cross to the other side where there is a shop. You become a pedestrian. You can be taking a healthy walk, all right, or maybe a run in the morning or in the late evening. You're going for your road run, for a healthy run. You become a pedestrian. So it's important to note that at one point or the other, we are all pedestrian at some point. Now, what are some of the laws or rules or regulations when it comes to pedestrians, their safety, and also what the law requires for pedestrians to do when they are on the road? There is a section 184 of the Road Traffic Act number 11 of 2002, as well as statutory instrument number 76 of 2022. These two pieces of legislation provides guidelines to pedestrians on how they are supposed to conduct themselves when they are on the road to avoid road traffic crashes or being involved in a road traffic crash. The first thing we need to know is that as a pedestrian, especially here in Zambia, is that you must always walk on the right-hand side of the road. At all times, pedestrians must endeavor to walk on the right-hand side of the road. Why is that important? It's important so that they are able to see the traffic that is coming in front of them. All right. In case of any eventualities, they are able to see the sudden movement of a vehicle from the road to a pedestrian footpath where they are walking, and they can as well move away to avoid that road traffic crash. So it's important that at all times pedestrians endeavor to walk on the right-hand side of the road where they are able to face oncoming traffic. When it comes to where to cross the road from, okay, it's also very important. Section 184 requires that pedestrians at all times should cross at designated crossing points. What are these designated crossing points? One, a pedestrian crossing. Growing up, we knew it as a zebra crossing. They used to teach us in school that you should always cross the road on a zebra crossing. So a pedestrian crossing is one of the designated places for a pedestrian to cross from. Others are a footbridge. I'll give an example of the one that is on Great East Road at the University of Zambia. There is a footbridge there. We've noticed and we've seen a number of road traffic crashes there involving pedestrians and motor vehicles at the University of Zambia because they want to cross the road. The safest for those students and any other pedestrian to do there is to use a footbridge. Please make use of the footbridge. It is safer for you as a pedestrian to use when you want to cross the road. Now, what is it that you're supposed to do when you reach a pedestrian crossing? When we were growing up, there was a song that we used to sing. I don't know if the schools now are still teaching that song, where they would teach you "I want to cross the road" song. And this song will talk about you looking to the right, to the left, and to the right again. The essence of that is to make sure that the road is clear. Now, Section 184 says that a pedestrian no pedestrian shall suddenly enter a pedestrian crossing and walk or run onto the path of a motor vehicle which is so close that it is impossible for the driver to yield. So the law here is saying that no pedestrian shall suddenly throw themselves on a pedestrian crossing when the vehicle on the road, it is practically impossible for it to stop. It is too close. So this is a responsibility that has been given to every pedestrian by law. This is law. It means that if you fail to do this, you are committing an offense as a pedestrian. So it's important that you don't literally throw yourself on the pedestrian crossing because it is a pedestrian crossing. No, you have a responsibility as a pedestrian to make sure that it is clear before you cross the road. Because if you don't make sure that it's clear and you literally throw yourself on the road and you cause a road traffic crash, according to Section 184, subsection 1, you commit an offense because it says no pedestrian shall suddenly enter a pedestrian crossing and walk or run onto the path of a vehicle which is so close that it is impossible for the driver to yield. The other one says a pedestrian shall not walk in the roadway except for the purpose of crossing from one side to the other side of the carriageway. So this means that as a pedestrian, when you are walking, don't walk in the middle of the road. It's for motor vehicles. Don't walk in the lane. You have to walk by the roadside, in the footpath, on the right-hand side. So if you are walking in the road, it means you're committing an offense because it says that no pedestrian shall walk on a public road except for the purpose of crossing from one side to the other. So it's very important that pedestrians know which side of the road to walk on. Do not walk on the road unless you want to cross the road. And when crossing the road at a pedestrian crossing, you must satisfy yourself that it is clear for you to cross the road. When you cross the road, you are not going to cause a road traffic crash or an obstruction. The other one says a pedestrian on a public road which has no sidewalk or footpath abutting the carriageway shall walk as near as practicable to the edge of the carriageway. So it means that you don't have to walk in the middle of the road. You have to walk by the side where it is safe for you. Now, even when you walk by the side of the road, please do not walk too close. There are motor vehicles like light trucks which has side view mirrors that protrude. Now, if you walk too close to the road, that side view mirror that is protruding can end up hitting into you and you can be injured or even die. So it's important that you always move near the road, but not so close to the road. The Act also says that no pedestrian shall cross a public road without satisfying oneself that the carriageway is sufficiently free of oncoming traffic to permit the pedestrian to do so safely. So guys, if you don't do this, it means that as a pedestrian as well, you are at fault. You are not following what Section 184 of the Road Traffic Act says. A pedestrian on crossing a public road by means of a pedestrian cross at any other manner shall not loiter on the road. I remember when I was driving, coming here to the studio, I found some students at Lusaka Girls. There's a pedestrian crossing at Lusaka Girls, and these students, we stopped and they were crossing the road. In the middle of the road, they started trekking, believe me or not. They stopped and started trekking on the road, and some started going back again. Now, that is loitering on the road. Pedestrians should not do that. When you're crossing the road, you cross quickly, but do not run. But don't start loitering where you go to the other end, again, you start going back, again, you start going back. That is loitering on the road, and it is not allowed according to section 184. Now, when we look at Statutory Instrument 76 of 2022, it also forbids pedestrians to cross the road whilst talking on the phone. It is actually an offense for a pedestrian to cross the road whilst using a handheld mobile phone. The importance of that is that you need to concentrate on the road before you cross. Imagine you're crossing the road and you are talking on the phone. A vehicle might be hooting for you not to cross that road, but because you are concentrating on the phone, you won't even hear that warning from a motor vehicle. So it's important that we know it's an offense and we avoid it because it is for our own safety. The other also, section 76 talks about the issue of putting headphones whilst crossing the road. You are not allowed to put headphones when crossing the road. At all times, please do remove your headphones and then you cross the road. Later, that's when you can wear your headphones. You need to be aware of your environment. It's very important, even as a pedestrian, to be aware of environment. A vehicle could be warning you by using a hooter, but because you're putting your headphones, you are not going to be able to hear that warning, and it could be fatal for you. So it's important that as pedestrians, first of all, we know which side of the road to walk on. Secondly, we know that where we're supposed to cross the road from. Thirdly, we should always make sure that it is clear before we cross the road. Don't literally throw yourself on the road. Make sure it is clear before you cross the road. Hey, I'll see you again tomorrow on another edition of our road safety chat with Traffic Desk 2.